Hey, what's up? It's Deanna, and today I wanted to show you this really cool antique Victorian gem tintype photo album from the 1860s, 1870s. So if you don't know already what a gem tintype is, basically a gem is a small photographic tintype image that's about 3/4 of an inch to about an inch in size. It's basically or roughly about the size of a postage stamp, and they were cheaper than a CDV paper photo and often mounted on a CDV size thin cardboard decorative backing held in a small brass mat with a decorative prong setting. And a lot of times, too, they would make these little albums just to actually hold gem tintypes. And gems were in use as political material for the 1860 election of Abraham Lincoln. And they were created by the use of multiple lens cameras, which could produce many exposures on a single plate. Because of its small postage stamp size, gems lended themselves for use in photo jewelry, such as pins, brooches, lockets, Victorian hair jewelry, hand tinting of the small gems was in vogue. So, of course, these photos were not colorized, so they could be hand tinted, and someone would paint over them. That would cost a lot more, and sometimes it would cost more than the actual photograph itself. So you don't generally see that too often because these were very inexpensive photographs of the time. And like a lot of times you'll see a pink blush tint to the lips or cheeks, and that again was more costlier than a regular gem tintype photo. Now this is a gem album, and it's a photo album filled with gem tintypes. It's a beautiful invention, and the sad part of it is that gem portraits, being so small in nature, are unfortunately rarely identified. So they were so tiny that there was really no way of writing on the backs of them to have a person's name or year that or date that the photo was taken or a place where it was taken. Now, a tintype is actually not a photograph that was made on tin. It was developed on blackened iron. So it would be a sheet of iron that they would paint black and then develop the photo on it so you could see it over the blackened iron. So this one is really faded and old. Again, it's about 1860s to 1870s. So let me show you some of the photos that are in there. Now it's in bad shape. As you can see here, the paper is totally warped and very old. So here are some of the images that are in there. This one sadly is missing. Then we have this one here. Now here's a hand tinted one. As you can see here, the guy on the left's cheeks are hand tinted. So that cost him more to have that photograph made. There's a missing one hand here, sadly. But you can see the blackened iron that I was mentioning. See how they painted the iron black? And that's so the picture could be developed onto it. So you could see the image. There's another photo. And here's hand tinted cheeks over here. See that when I move it from side to side? You see how the composition of how it was made. You can see the photograph over here has tinted cheeks. Very hard to see this. If you look below here, you see two guys in one picture. They look like they're having a good time. Generally, you don't see people smiling in pictures because they took so long to actually take the photograph that people had to sit still for long periods of time, and they got very, very aggravated by that process. So when you see somebody smiling, it's a little bit of an unusual thing to see. Now, these photographs generally really went out of favor probably around the early 1870s or the mid 1870s, because the CDV photograph, which was actually developed on paper, was just as cheap. And so you don't see too many of this after that time frame. That doesn't mean that they still weren't being made. They, apparently these were more like photo booth type of photos. So if you went to a place where you wanted to get your photograph done really cheaply, this was a type of photograph that you would have after the 1870s. A lot of traveling photographers actually used to still do the gem tintype. So you can go to like a fair and you can get your photo taken for really cheap, just like the photo booths that they had. They don't really have too many of them today, but like when I was a kid in the 70s, you would have the photo booths, and they were very cheap to get multiple shots of you taken. And we're coming to the last page here. You can see this book is really, really old. The lady on the right has tinted cheeks. I don't know if you can see that. And the young lady on the left has tinted cheeks. Now, the reason why I make videos showing all these antiques, not a lot of people follow my channel. It bores a lot of people. Especially YouTube videos that last more than like 2 or 3 minutes, people hit the back button. But the reason why I make these videos is as a record of the antiques in my collection. So if, God forbid, something happens to me one day, my children will know what I have and what's laying around the house. My husband jokes around, and I believe that he's actually serious, that if something ever happens to me, if I should pass away, that he's going to rent a big giant dumpster out and put it outside the house and just throw all of my antiques in the garbage. And I can't believe like some people don't find these things interesting or love antiques, but I guess to each his own. Not everybody's going to love antiques, and not everybody's going to feel the same way about them as I do. But so my videos are actually a record for my children. If my husband just so happens to not throw them in a dumpster, maybe they can scoop these things up and realize what their mother had and what was in the collection. So once again, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. And if you want to see more antique and really cool objects of history, please hit the notification bell and hit all notifications. So anytime I upload a video, you'll see it here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.